G'day folks, welcome to a little Wednesday afternoon. Not doing an awful lot, just sorting a few things out and making plans for this weekend. I'm going to continue the big clean up and all that sort of thing. Not a lot's happened back here apart from a bit of a rearrange and everything. Got my soldering iron station set up, a nice headphone stand. Big marine diesel valve makes for a great headphone stand. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm just working out what I can do back here. Playing around with TVs and things as well, and ordering tool inserts. Couldn't find these for less than $100 shipped to my door, but I'm going to need them anyway. The little triangular ones, those two in there are already worn out or damaged, chipped. So yeah, I'm getting tooling and stuff sorted out, buying stuff for the mill. Now this TV, I spent a bit more time on it. This is an LG Plasma. Now this is the original board that came out of it, and it was crashing HDMI devices. As soon as I plug it in, it'll just crash. Like, I've plugged into this PC via a DVI to HDMI cable, and it crashed the video card so bad I had to unplug the computer and plug it back in again to get it to work. Thankfully it didn't kill or damage the video card. Same with the Blu-ray player. I plugged my Blu-ray into it, crash. The device just shut down and didn't want to work again until or video output didn't want to work again until I well, basically turned it off and back on again. So I took the HDMI chip off and no fix. TV still crashes. Obviously I plug it into something digital, it doesn't do anything now, but the owner was happy just to have analog because that's all he was going to use. He didn't care if I permanently disabled HDMI as long as it didn't crash. It didn't work. I picked up AV and it still crashed. I put the other board back in just for the hell of it, and it still couldn't find input. Like, it never crashed like this one does, but it still wouldn't find AV input. It'd just sit there and just blink a little bit, like it's trying to initialize the ADC, the analog digital converter. I applied light thumb pressure to the CPU and it just died completely, and it hasn't worked since. So I'm guessing these CPUs, this one here I had a temporary heatsink stuck on it, but they were never heat sunk at all. And it's a fairly decent VGA chip and they were never heat sunk. So I'm guessing these things just disconnect themselves from the board after a while, like a Red Ring of Death Xbox type scenario. So I'll try throwing one of the boards in the oven for 6 minutes at 200 degrees and see what happens. If it melts the plastic inserts in the analog video input and component input ports, then, well, it's screwed anyway. It doesn't really matter. Both boards are going in the bin. But the worst part is I can't even get a new board for it, which was $230. The owner didn't want to spend the money, but I just checked again and the board's not even available anymore. They're sold out. eBay doesn't have anything. They're a pretty hot item. They go all the time. Can't find anything, so it's going to be one of those things that I sit on as a spare parts unit, or the customer can have it back and do what he wants with it. Customer probably won't want it back, but I always offer them back anyway, just in case. So yeah, this is the TV. If anyone has one of these that they're parting out, like a broken panel or a dead power supply, I want the digital board out of it. Not the digital board, the input board. It's a 42PG60UD. It's the one with the solid glass front that goes all the way to the outer edges. Yeah, it's this board here that I'm after. This is the one that I picked out of a roadside find that had a smashed panel. The panel breakage was after the fact. The board obviously had gone faulty in it for the same reason. They threw it out. So all I did was apply light pressure while it was running to see if it would do anything, and I lost everything. Like, I couldn't turn it off, couldn't turn it on, had no on-screen display, no input, nothing. And after trying to turn it on and off a few times, never came good. So that VGA chip has desoldered itself. And through just a tiny little bit of pressure, finger pressure, it just popped. So I'll throw that board in the oven and see what happens. I'll have to buy a bottle of liquid flux first. I don't like trying to reflow tin solder without extra flux, because that stuff is just nasty as it is. But anyway, I'm going to clear out this stuff soon, sort them out. There's an LG chassis there that's a Conia. rubbish find. Standard Samsung, sorry not LG, a Samsung chassis, which I have plenty of parts for, so I'll try and throw a board in that one and get it going. If it doesn't, well, junk it. Behind it is an LG that works with a panel drive issue, the vertical coloured bars. That's a bad panel. I'm getting another one, probably the same tomorrow, from a friend at work that has the same problem. So I'll have 2 sets of boards for those which are still intact. That's a HD Samsung. The back stoved in a bit from being dumped at the tip, and it's shorting something out in the power supply, so it took out my main breaker and actually blew up the 8 amp test breaker that I have. So that was kind of interesting. And again, that 50-inch Pioneer's still here. Built like a tank. It's got M8 nutserts all the way around the outside for mounting this thing in any position on any wall or anything like that. It's a heavy-duty unit. But again, it's got to come apart, and I'll save the panels for a little bit of high voltage fun. There's also a Sony down there which works fine. Just a rubbish find. And you'd think in the mid-2000s that TV manufacturers would include normal analog video inputs, RCA inputs for AV, and component inputs. Well, Sony obviously didn't feel that people needed those, so they produced this TV with S-video only, and in addition to D-sub and DVI input for PC. That's it. There are no extra AV ports on it. There's nothing on the sides, nothing on the bottom of it. It's S-video or computer input only. And I'd be willing to bet that's why people threw it out, because you can't even just plug an Xbox into it. You can't do anything with it, really. Unless you want it as a standard def PC monitor, which I will use it for. Yeah, it's useless. So yeah, I'm just going to mount it on the door here, rearrange the door signs and everything like that, and probably delete some of this cable racking here and put more signs around there and down the bottom. And I'll have a plasma TV in the middle of it with a bit of a dirt and splash shield over the top of it, and we'll see how long it lasts. It's actually an LG, I think it's an LG chassis or a Samsung chassis in it anyway. Made in Korea. It'll be one of the two. Sony obviously didn't make their own flat panels or chassis back then. Anyway, yeah, mill's in place, still needs some work. Put the motor back on after a quick respray. Clean all that up. I've got to get another seal to replace that one. Not that it really needs it. I might just pop that seal out and see what's actually under there. If it's just a bearing race, I'll pack some fresh grease in it and shove the thing back in there. I'm not doing too much to this because the more I take it apart, the more I'm going to disturb all kinds of horrific problems. I just want to make sure it stays in gear, even if I put a spring and a tensioner on the, I think it's this selector here that jumps out. You'll be drilling away in high or medium, and all of a sudden it'll just pop into neutral. So I'm going to find a way to keep it in gear and just use it as it is. It's too beat up to really bother tearing it down and doing much with it. But it works. I'm just buying a new vise and an edge finder for it, and that'll do it. Anyway, bit of fun. So yeah, I would like to fix that for the guy, but again, how far do you go with an older style HD plasma? Certainly wouldn't have spent that much time on a standard def plasma. I would have just told him I can throw it in the bin or throw it in my backyard as spare parts. They're really not worth it, but I don't know. I just like TVs. I've kind of gotten over the CRT televisions, but to be honest, plasma's still kind of interesting. Not that it's all that viable anymore with really good LCDs coming out. But yeah, this weekend's going to be getting rid of most of that. Sorting out a bit of stuff in here and just get back to business. More autopsies and things like that. The roof went up alright too. Bit of polycarb. I just got to flash it so that the water goes straight down into the gutter instead of trying to roll back. Because right now, when it rains, this rail has little drips dropping off it because it's rolling back from the lack of fall, which was to be expected. So yeah, it's all time to sort out, clean up, and yeah, get back into things. I've just got to thin out what I've got so that I've actually got room to work, which I do now. I mean, I've got access to the mill. and all that sort of stuff. I can keep engines shoved into that corner there because I don't get a lot of stuff out of that cabinet. And everything's on wheels anyway, so it can just be dragged out of the way when I want access. Just a matter of finding place for him. Yeah, the two people who inquired about the drill press, I sequentially went through trying to message people. Both of you had contact lock on, and I haven't had a response since. So I can't get in contact with you if you have contact lock on. So yeah, if anyone wants that drill press, message me. First in, first served again. I tried messaging the people who have contact lock on twice. I know you're locals, remember it's on the Mornington Peninsula, you got to come and do a road trip to come and get it. I'm not delivering. But yeah, I can't communicate with you if you've got contact lock on. Remember that whenever you send me, anyone who wants to send me a message and expect a reply, I'd say 70% of the messages I get now, 70-75% of the messages I get, I can't reply to because you've got contact lock on. I have to have you have to add me as a friend or something like that before I can even communicate with you. So Google's made it really annoying. I mean, it does stop a lot of unsolicited spam messages and things like that, but when you actually want to get in contact with somebody, it makes things quite difficult. So yeah, check your account settings before you send me a message and expect me to reply to it, because I usually can't. Like, more than half the time I can't reply to you. Anyway, that's enough rambling for this afternoon. I've got some cleaning up to do. I'm going to put that thing back together and chuck it in the house, in the spare room. And then we'll get into some autopsies. Hopefully I'll film a couple of autopsies this afternoon. And a bit tomorrow afternoon, and then I'll just get into cleaning up outside, probably off video like last weekend. That's why you haven't seen much progress on the roof. It's just been one of those get it done things. Anyway, yeah, anyone out there who's got input board for one of them, let me know if you want to sell it. Customer's willing to pay a nominal price for a second-hand board which is working. I need to be guaranteed that it's going to work. If I'm going to pay a reasonable price for it. I mean, if you just want to get rid of it, fine. I don't mind paying the cost of shipping or something like that if you don't know if it works. But yeah, you know, usual thing. If you know it hasn't been tested or you can't test it, you don't ask the earth for it. But yeah, trying to find them is really hard. Obviously, these TVs just eat input boards, because I'll be buggered if I can find one on eBay or Gumtree or anywhere like that. Anyway, thanks for watching.